Okay, so now we're going to deal with what endings do you put on if you want to express something that will happen in the future or would happen in the future. So we have our two, I guess you could call future tenses. One that's literally called the future and the other which is called the conditional. The future indicates I will. So I could say I will talk, and that would be you would use the future tense endings. Conditional is would, so I would talk, which is you would use the conditional endings. So if the endings for the future are as, a, hemos, es, an, and then for the conditional it's ia, ias, ia, iamos, iais, ian. These are the same as the er, ir endings in the imperfect, if you have noticed. When you add these endings on the verb, it's not like the other tenses where you take off the ar, er, ir and add in the ending, but instead you keep the whole verb and add the ending to the end of the verb. So you would say, if I wanted to say I will talk, I would say hablaré, not hable, because that means something different. So you would say hablaré, hablarás, hablará, hablaremos, hablaréis, hablarán. And then if I wanted to go to conditional, I'd say hablaría, hablarías, hablaría, hablaríamos, hablaríais, hablarían. And what's cool is if they're the same endings for all the verbs, so that actually makes it easier to remember. Now there are, I believe, 12 total irregulars in like the basic stem for the irregular that in the future and conditional. So set number 1 is where you drop the e. So like poder, you drop this e and it becomes podr. So you have podre, for example. In querer, you drop that e right there and it becomes quer. So you'd say querre. And then for saber, you drop that e and it becomes sabre. So you'd say sabre. Sabre. Sorry. So the next set is when you replace the e or the I with a d. And as you can see, like poner replaces the e from the er and with a d. Salir does the same, and tener does the same with the er, ir. And then you have the ones that drop both an e and a c. They don't necessarily have to be in that order, because in the seer, right, you have the e before the c, and then you drop both of those. And then in aser, you have the c and then the e, but you still drop both of them. So you have dire and then are. Dire and are. So these, as long as you know these irregulars, and then this should actually be pretty easy because you only have one set of endings for both those tenses. So yeah.